The following episode of the Comics and Crypto podcast is for informational purposes only, and anything expressed by the hosts or their guests is solely their opinion. This podcast does not constitute financial advice, and anyone wishing to invest should seek their own independent financial or professional help. Have fun and enjoy the show.
Hi, I'm Sean O'Hare, and I know comics.
Hi, I'm Spencer Vogel, and I know crypto.
Hi, I'm Kevin Lee Loader, and I don't know shit. This is the Comics and Crypto podcast.
Comics and crypto, crypto and comics, collector's world in a digital age. Comics and crypto, crypto and comics is where the next billionaires will be made. It's comics and crypto.
Today we have two special guests on the podcast. They're building the hottest new mobile game in Web3 called WAGMI Defense that's being launched in partnership with GameStop. Please welcome the CEO and Director of Talent Acquisition for WAGMI Games, Ian Bentley and Scott Herman.
Scott, Ian, hey guys. Thanks for joining
Hey,
us.
what's going on, guys?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And honestly, and before we start real quick, thank you for saying my name properly, because I literally posted a YouTube video today that I was on a podcast or a YouTube video, and the lady, sweet as can be, and it was a great interview, but it was Ian like multiple times, and the team, literally, the team has done now like these shill loops that they've said like, thank you for Ian joining us, Ian. Thank you for joining us, Ian. Thank you for
Oh no.
So anyways, thank you for getting my name right. I appreciate that too.
Absolutely. I'm admiring the background, Scott. Look at that.
Yeah.
So
Thank you. Yeah, it's a work in progress. I got a lot of collectibles. I got a whole tote of Ninja Turtles I want to start, figure out a place to put.
Nice.
yeah. So I take it you're a collector.
Yeah, so like I was in the garage the other day and I know which tote has the Ninja Turtles in it. It's like I opened it and I reached in and pulled one out, and it was like a transforming fire engine that turns into Leonardo. I was like, oh yeah, I remember this. And I had everything growing up. I had like the Turtles rock and roll bus with all Ninja Turtles, the guitars and everything. And all I just don't have it. It's just in a tote.
That's awesome. And what about you, Ian? Are you a collector?
So I'm not. I collect nice cars.
Yay!
I'm more of that kind of deal. But back in the day, and it's funny because I'm in transit. I'm building a big house, and I have all of my original Star Wars stuff that I've kept over the probably decades. And
Amazing.
what I'm excited to do is I'm excited to actually take where we've made like this bonus room for my two young sons, is to start actually putting all of that as decoration amongst that big bonus room. So like the original Millennium Falcon, and I mean, we've got the original AT-ATs, and these big Boba Fetts, and
Wow.
the Darth Vaders, and
What are you saying? You're
it's
not a
all
collector?
of it's good shit.
Yeah.
Well,
You're gonna have to build the Lego Death Star with the kids.
I can't wait to do that, honestly. I think that's going to be amazing, although what's going to happen is I have to wait until they're old enough for them to help me, because I'll be the OCD dude that's over there for 3 or 4 days, and you're like, where's Ian? Oh, he's building that damn Lego set. Okay, we need him to work.
I was looking at the price of some of these Lego sets. Like you can literally spend $1,500
Yeah.
on a Lego set. It's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, it's wild. They've been expensive for a while though.
I mean, yeah, they've been getting progressively more and more expensive. I mean, that's basically what saved their brand, because Lego was going to go out of business, and then they started getting all these brand deals, and that's what really kind of took them to the next level and brought them back to life.
Now they have that TV show with Will Arnett, Lego Masters. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah.
It's a game show where
Yeah,
people
yeah.
compete and build these insane Lego structures. It's so cool.
Well, I'm really excited to talk about the things you guys are developing in Web3. But before we do that, maybe you could tell us a little bit about your backgrounds before Web3.
Yeah, sure. My background is in fitness. That's where I got my start. I worked in a gym since I was 14. Started off as like the maintenance monkey, then front desk, then personal trainer, then head of the training department, then general manager, and then I went on a reality TV show.
Natural progression.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
That's what
natural
makes sense.
progression of things. I started getting into into modeling when I was 18. And so one of my clients, actually, when I was a trainer, his name was actually Scott as well. He had a photo company. And so he would always take me with him to New York, because I was in New Hampshire at the time. It's like a 4-hour drive. He would always take me to New York to help him with all of his photo shoots, because, we were friends. He was also friends with my dad. And then, I would help him carry all his equipment. So he would do it was called Photos in a Minute, where he would do these events and then basically have these printers take all these amazing photos, and it would print it out in a minute. and people could take that home with them. So like we did a lot of events for like The Sopranos and things like that at the time, were really popular. And so while he was there, there was a contest for the best abs on the East Coast with Men's Health magazine. And so while we were at like this Macy's, I went over and entered the contest and I won. And it got me like a modeling gig. So I was going back and forth to New York for modeling gigs. And I was the first person to have 3 pull-out posters in Men's Health magazine in 1 year. And then around that time, I had another client, Holly, who was like, you should go on The Real World and make a video. And I was like, no, that show's stupid. I don't want to go on a reality TV show. And she just like bugged me for 6 months, like, make a video. So I made a video. Maybe I'll show you guys at some point. I save that as a little Easter egg. Maybe we'll make it an unlock in the game, Ian. Hey, if you hit this level, you can see Scott's embarrassing video.
That's some great utility right there.
Yeah, it's amazing utility. So I made the video, super cheesy. And the coup de grace at the end was like, oh, and by the way, I have the best abs on the East Coast. So obviously made it on the show.
Yeah.
I know a thing or two about making videos to get on reality TV shows. Anyway, so like that whole thing happened. I moved to the city, did the show, got into I tried doing like acting and modeling in the city, but I felt like I was missing out on my passion, which was fitness. And so I started a YouTube channel because it all just started back then. You know, nobody thought YouTube was anything. Twitter had just come out. This is 2009. And so I moved back home to the gym that I was the general manager of. And basically I'd work all day. I'd close the doors at 10. And then my clients, a couple, Cliff and Tom, they would come to the gym at 10 o'clock at night and help me film all my videos. And so we would film from like 10 to 1 in the morning and just post all the content online. And it was mainly just to get help to people who didn't know how to train. And then it turned into what it is now. It's 3 million subscribers worldwide. I've done TV show integrations because of it. I was the head trainer for Lionsgate. I have the #1 bodybuilding.com home workout program called MetaBurn 90. And I just kind of took it as far as I could, right? All the while, one of my other passions has always been gaming and collecting. And I've been a gamer since I could hold a NES controller. And so a couple of years ago, you know, I had a friend tell me to invest some money in Shiba Inu. I was like, okay, like I don't understand anything about crypto. Threw some money in and, you know, like 100x'd whatever I put in there because it took off. I was like, that's cool. How do I do more of that?
Yeah.
Right. And after about a year of really diving into crypto and just kind of like, you know how it is when you first get into crypto. It's like you start off with the altcoins and the crap coins, and you start to realize that there's really no utility there. And I found myself in gaming. And as a gamer, I recognized right away, like, oh yeah, this is where it's going to be the mass adoption, because I'm already spending all this money in games because I have a gaming YouTube channel as well where I stream Web2 mobile games. And I was like, okay, if these were NFTs, that makes sense. And that's right around the time I met Ian and the rest of the team with WAGMI, and I saw what they were building. And immediately I said, this is where I want to be. This is where I want to park myself. I want to put all my time here and build this and become a permanent part of this team. And that's what got us to where we are today. Literally a month and a half away from launching the first downloadable crypto game in both the iOS and Google Play Store, where you can purchase the NFTs with fiat and lots of other fun stuff we'll get into later, I'm sure. But that's my journey.
Nice.
kind of all over the map. But you know what? It's those life experiences, I think, that help you become more well-rounded in the people that you meet.
So my journey, actually, I was originally a theater major at University of Florida, and I wanted to be a actor. So I actually did the whole deal as far as getting my degree from University of Florida. Right before I was graduating, I'm also a musician and wound up hooking up with a couple of dudes that were really good writers. And instead of wanting to be a actor, I was like, I'll be a rock star. That sounds like a lot of fun. So I basically did that for probably 4 years out of college. And in fact, Scott, it's so funny that you mentioned MTV and stuff like that, because one of the times that we actually went to New York City to actually perform, one of our friends worked at MTV and got us onto the Request Live with Carson Daly, whatever show is. Yeah. And I actually was going through, because long story short, but my iCloud completely went out and came back in and screwed up all of my filing system. So I'm seeing all of this random stuff I've not seen forever. And there was a whole entire folder with like old VHS stuff that I had actually transposed onto my drive. And one of them was a copy of when I was on TRL, was it TRL Live or something like that?
Yeah.
And I actually introduced Rage Against the Machine on the
no
show.
way.
I'm like, yo, what's up? This is Ian Bentley from Games of Florida. And I want to introduce Rage Against the Machine. Right?
That's the other utility. We'll have my video.
There we go.
That's
There
amazing.
you go.
There we go.
Yep. So anyways, I had that small little bit of my 8 seconds of fame. Literally, it was 8 seconds.
What kind of music were you playing?
It was rock. So I'm a little bit older, but we played with bands like Creed and Seven Dust and Three Doors
Yeah.
Down and Nickelback.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
and,
of course. Yeah.
So we were heavier, but we still had. I was a bass player, and I come from
I
like
play bass too.
I call. Oh, sweet, man!
You slap
Awesome.
at
We'll
the
have to
bass.
get together. We slap at the bass.
Yeah.
Yeah, slap at the bass. But I consider myself a godfather of rave. Like I was going to raves before they were cool, before the acronym EDM even existed, and where you'd have to actually go to this one person would tell you where to go to, and there was one guy on the side of the street, have to look in, make sure there's no cops, and then tell you where the party is. So that was kind of my whole entire existence in college. So I've always had the dance feel to the way I play bass, and the other guys were straight rock. So we brought, between drum and bass, I brought a lot more energy to just like a straight rock. And so it was like, if Metallica met like Jamiroquai, that was kind of like our band.
Cool.
So anyway, so I come from that. And the reason I say that is because while we were doing the band, instead of just bartending, I was also teaching myself how to do web design development, teach myself online marketing. In fact, right when we started the band, one of my buddies out of college was like, you should get a domain name. I'm like, what's that? Like, that's how early it was when I got into the internet marketing and stuff like that. So I was actually building websites for even the rock stations around Gainesville, and got to Orlando. I was actually the webmaster for Seven Dust for like 3 or 4 years. So did that, migrated into like, understanding what it was like to actually now get people into different websites with online marketing, taught myself all of that, led into a company that I started in which we built to one of the largest lead providers in the entire nation for the automotive space, and wound up selling that company for quite a bit of money. And that was the first taste of like an emerging technology in which I had to talk people into an industry to do something different. And what I mean by that is when we were approaching car dealers, right, back in the day, they're used to spending $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 on newspapers. So I don't know how old you are, but it used to be when you wanted to buy a car, you would open up the Sunday paper and it was all of these pages of these dealerships advertising to try to get you to call about these listings that they would print. And we're like, well, that's stupid. You can actually just pay me $25 a person and know if this guy's buying a car or not and have a return on investment. They're like, oh, no, we're going to go ahead and keep on doing the newspapers. Well, 2008 came, and obviously everything that happened with, that recession, and with GM and Ford, they almost folded and stuff like that. Well, that's when newspapers started basically losing all of their prowess. And it was guys like us that finally were able to be like, we've been telling you that this is the way to go. And now car dealerships there's not even any newspapers around anymore. And really all of their advertising is, and the majority, they still do radio and TV, but the majority of they spend on it is a return on investment having to do with internet marketing. And the reason I bring that up is I feel we're in the same type of emerging technology when it comes to NFTs, right? Mm-hmm. It's the same type of thing with games. I saw what, like Scott was saying, I saw what was happening with commerce, with NFTs last summer, or maybe it's like 2 summers ago now, where, okay, I didn't really know what the utility was of crypto. It was just Bitcoin, and yeah, you could get some Litecoin and pay for some porn on Pornhub.com. And okay, I don't know really how much utility that is. But when I started to see what was happening with the commerce of NFTs, I'm like, what's NFTs? Let me go ahead and explore a little bit of that. And then, seeing what the hype collections were. And yeah, I ate into a bunch of them. They were pure garbage. But, it also taught me, okay, I see there's commerce and I see what is really hype, and okay, what is the substance behind NFTs? And what was all said and done, it was a digital asset that you own. And I'm like, okay, when you simplify it, it makes a lot of sense. So it's great. You can prove it on the blockchain. and therefore it's tradable. And granted, it's tradable via crypto right now. And the thing that really started drawing me into the use case of NFTs was gaming. It is a digital asset that gamers are constantly buying, but they don't own it. So I started following guys like Elio Trades and, Alec Becker and guys like that. And just, hearing what they had to say, invested in a little bit of it. But to me, it was really more of an interesting kind of play of, well, I do want to get into this emerging technology. I actually built a full-blown prospectus on a different project as far as an IDO I was going to launch, and I didn't do it, but it had to do with NFTs. And I wound up meeting the guys in this project, and one of the guys just happened to be like, dude, I know what I need. I know what this industry needs as far as a game and how to integrate it. And he's like, it's mobile. And it's taking a very tried and true approach to a game like a Clash Royale. Let's apply it. It's 5-6 years old already. It needs to be refreshed. Let's go ahead and give it a whole different feel, and then be able to utilize the NFT and the in-game ownership to it. So he sold me, and got behind him and the other two guys that were on the core team. So we founded this project. And then, Scott and Costas, who came on board afterwards, a few months later. But it was really just another point in my life, just like I did with the leads, that drew me to this emerging technology, to saying there's only like maybe 1 or 2 times in a career of a human being that a technology will allow you to be able to kind of give yourself an opportunity to actually make a difference. Yeah. Not only financially, but take that emerging technology and be one of the leaders in the space. And that's why I'm so enthusiastic about this project right now, is because I truly believe, like we had mentioned before we started recording, we're all so early that, I feel like, there's going to be a lot of great games and a lot of great projects that are coming out from NFTs. And just really, I feel like we've got the right business model to be able to be one of those projects that does pop. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, gaming that's what really made me realize what the importance of NFTs were going to be. And this was back in 2018 is kind of when I first discovered NFTs. 2017 is when I got into crypto, and then through Engine Coin and the Engine ecosystem, that's how I, really it just clicked for me. I was looking at games it was Nine Lives Arena and the Six Dragons, and they're still developing to this day, but it's all just indie games that they were able to raise money just through the sale of their NFTs. Which I thought was it's just incredible that, people could do that. Something that it wasn't really super possible before. But just seeing how assets could be interoperable and how assets could move between games. And, even if one game developer shuts down, another developer could decide to pick up those assets and basically just adopt a whole new community again. The whole concept, it just made so much sense to me. And since, I've kind of moved more towards the digital collectibles and licensed collectible side of things. And now I feel like I'm moving back towards gaming again. And it's really fun to kind of, it's all come full circle. But speaking of gaming and I just want to hear about WAGMI Games and everything you guys are building.
Part of the reason how we met was because we launched our comic, right? And so you had a chance to read the comic. It's really fun. It's 40 pages of all lore. There's no ads in there or anything like that. It's 40 pages of lore that anybody watching right now can go to GameStop, type in NIFE Wars, NIFE Wars, read the comic, because it's the world's first in-browser digital readable comic book where you don't even have to own it to read it, which is so cool because it's only 5,973 comics. So obviously we want to have more gamers than that, right? Playing the game. So then you might ask yourself, well, if anybody can read the comic just by clicking on it, what's the point of owning it? Well, let me tell you why. Because everything we're doing at WAGMI Games, we want to be as innovative as possible. We want to be as easy to access as possible, but also bring excitement. So for those who minted the comic, and the mint price was really cheap, it was like $89 a comic. If you minted it, of course, you own a piece of history, right? If you're a collector like us, you can read it. You can share it with your friends, obviously. But you're going to be able to claim a physical copy of that comic relatively soon. All you do is pay for shipping. But when the full version of the game is out, you're going to be able to actually get an in-game war chest every single month, a comic exclusive in-game war chest. And again, right, that's how you start to see the future of NFTs. Now you can take something like a comic book, which there's tons of toy lines and there's tons of games that have comics and lore and story that goes along with them. We're going to be the first game that has a comic where you can actually, get some in-game utility along with it. which I think is really cool. And as far as the franchise itself is called WAGMI Games, the first game is called WAGMI Defense. And something that we talk about all the time, and we've talked about this off camera too, Spencer and Sean, we've realized that if we want to have mass adoption in the space, game number one can't be in-your-face crypto and NFTs.
Yeah.
So something that we've stuck by and has been part of our plan since the beginning is, hold on. I think I can hear your phone, Ian. It's totally
sorry.
missing.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and mute. Sorry. I was supposed to meet my daughters. They're fighting out if they get into a college today, and I was like, I'll just up on this YouTube, and they're like, where are you? I'll mute for a second. Sorry, guys. I'll jump off.
All good.
That was so funny.
Don't worry, we are keeping this.
Yeah. He was like, I thought he was like texting me, like, hey, make sure you like trying to tell me something. And I'm like, well, no one's texting me. What's going on?
I thought it was Sean. Sean and I sometimes, during these things, we text each other, just, hey, skip the next question, or
Our franchise is WAGMI Games. And again, like from the beginning, we recognize the pain points in the Web3 space right away. From my background as a YouTuber since 2009, so I understand things from both the creator side and from the business side, and so does everybody else on the team. And so one of the things that I recognized right away, even before I met Ian and the rest of the team, is any YouTuber that said the word crypto or NFT immediately was called a scammer. And this is obviously not in our space, in the mainstream space. Yeah. You're a scammer. NFTs are a scam. I don't understand. Why do you need tokens? That's dumb. So all of those pain points were immediately shutting down Web3, right? People just couldn't make it happen. So we took a look and we're like, everybody is trying so hard to be so crypto, so Web3, so NFT, and have all these these terms. It was almost like a penis measuring contest of who could have the most crypto terminology on their white paper. And it looked cool in the echo chambers of Twitter, but outside of that, it scared everybody away.
Yeah.
And so we're like, we need to be different. So number one, mobile game, 53% of all the income coming in gaming in general, $205 billion is mobile. For the very reason is that if you have a game with a short play loop that's fun, a gamer will pick it up and play, a few matches and then put it down and come back and do it. Where if you have a massive immersive experience on a console game or a PC game, like you have to plan out that play time. Yeah. Right. Like there's games that I like to play that I have to, hey, I have to sit down for at least 2 hours to have fun playing this game, and that's fine. There's a market for that, but the bigger market is mobile. So we immediately recognize mobile. And then we immediately recognize that if we're going to go after creators in the space that are Web 2 native, that are already playing mobile games and streaming and doing strategy content, because obviously, we can do marketing and we don't have to go after creators to create content for us in order to be successful. But, the whole point of having a fun game is to play it with your friends. And if you're a creator, is to make content about it, whether you're making money or you just want to explain the newest meta to help you win the most matches. I mean, a lot of YouTubers that got started, myself included, I didn't start making fitness videos because I wanted to make money. I just wanted to help people who couldn't afford a personal trainer. And then it turned into what it is today. And so that same thought process has come with the game. It's like, okay, how can I provide an opportunity to creators in both the Web3 and Web 2 space to talk about our game, but also not lose subscribers and lose viewership because they're saying the 3-letter bad word, as Ian likes to say, which is NFT. Well, you do that by making the game, more of a transition from Web 2 to Web 3. So more like Web 2.5. So our franchise is WAGMI Games. Our first game is WAGMI Defense. And it's meant to be a fun game to play first with crypto elements added in that you don't even really know is happening. So like the gamer experience is, hey, you want to play this cool game? Go download it from the App Store. Oh, it's not, you don't have to mention that's crypto right away, right? You just say, hey, download from the App Store. And then when they sign in and they get a custodial wallet already created for them in the back end, they still don't know they're playing a crypto game. Even when they make their first purchase to buy a starter pack, they still don't know they just bought NFTs. They just say, hey, do you want to continue to play for free, or do you want to unlock the full version of the game, which gives you, and you explain all the benefits of getting the starter pack, level up your characters, trade them with friends, sell them, all the stuff that comes with owning the NFT itself without saying it's an NFT. Even our token, the way we're integrating the utility in the game, you'll be able to buy the token with your credit card, just like you buy COD points when playing Call of Duty. Same exact thing. That is how you start to get people interested, because a lot of people will play the game. They'll download it. They'll buy their NFTs. They'll level them up. They'll have the COD points. I mean, not the COD points. They'll have the WAGMI point. What do we call them? WAGMI bucks. We're not sure what we're going to call them yet in the game, right? But they'll have the token. They'll have the NFTs. And then all of a sudden, one of our characters, because we have our characters rigged in motion capture in Unreal 5 engine, we have General Stamima for the good guys, and we have Calf Rate for the bad guys. General Stamima pops up in game in our news section and says, "Hey, did you know that my character is worth $50 right now in GameStop? Here's how you go and see what your characters are worth." Of course, they're going to go take a look. And on top of going to take a look, if they decide they want to sell the character, they'll probably take that money and bring it back to the game and buy more characters. Yeah. So immediately we recognize the pain points of NFTs, tokens, metaverse, all of that just being words that people don't want to hear. The mass majority of people took that, got rid of it, streamlined the process, and now we're positioned to appeal to all gamers in Web 2 and Web 3.
So I just wanted to jump on real quick. I had to jump. I got yelled at by my daughters.
Oh, yeah, no worries.
I just wanted to jump on here and say thanks for having me. And I promise I'll be on again when I'm actually in my office and actually going to have a little bit of quiet time. But I wanted to just say thanks for having us on. And Scott will go ahead and continue the interview and stuff like that. But I just wanted to say thanks and have a great weekend, guys.
Yeah, you too. It was great meeting you, Ian. Look forward to having you on again.
You too, man. Cheers.
And then there was 3. Now I can say whatever I want.
Anything.
The CEO is gone. I'm really glad you guys got a chance to meet Ian, and I'm really glad that listeners got to hear a bit of his background, because it's really important. And I just want to say this before we continue with the questions. One of the main reasons why I decided to park the majority of my time here, I mean, I still run my fitness empire, but I mean, 90% of my time is here, building here, was because of the real world business experience that the entire team has, not just Ian. As you guys heard from, like, these guys understood what it took to not only build the proper foundation for a business, but also how to scale it. And that's really important, especially in this space right now, because there's a lot of teams out there. Great, there's a lot of good teams too in Web3, but there's a lot of teams out there that are kind of just throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks, without any real plan on how to scale it or turn it into a sustainable business that's going to be around for 5 years, 10 years. And in the gaming space, especially, you have to be thinking scaling, because what's the point of having a game is to have millions of people playing it. Yeah. So if that infrastructure isn't thought about from the very beginning, and, you know, maybe you have a couple thousand people playing your game and buying your NFTs and that works. But what happens when you have 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, a million? You know, and you're creating all these wallets for people, and you have all these NFTs, and you have this, that. You have to think big time if that's where you want to be.
I can tell just from talking to you guys that you guys are so professional in everything you guys do. Nothing,
thank you.
nothing but impressed. You know, in our many conversations that we've had since we first met.
100%.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
You're setting the standard for mobile gaming. I mean, this is going to be an exciting journey for you guys. I'm very excited to be a part of it.
Well, it's like what Ian said, right? Some people only get maybe one. You know, 2 is probably the limit on how many opportunities you have to make a real big impact. And it's funny because Ian and I feel like our stories are very similar, you know, in a lot of ways. And so for him, his first realization of having a massive impact was with Autotropolis, you know, his lead generation company. And he seized the moment. While everybody was saying, you know, lead generation is stupid, he was like, great, I'm going to be the first one to do it, and I'll probably make the most amount of money and have the most successful business. When I started making my YouTube videos, I think we've talked about this, Spencer. I mean, people thought I was an idiot. Like, you're so stupid. Why are you filming yourself in the gym? You're just some narcissistic douchebag posting content online. Why are you filming yourself in the gym? Like, the looks I would get bringing a camera to the gym. I'd constantly, if I was traveling and I had to film some content, constantly getting yelled at by the front desk. Like, you're not allowed to film in here. You're not allowed to take photos in here. You know, and kids now in their teens and early 20s never experienced that. Like, walk into a place and you can't film, like, you'll never hear that.
Yeah.
Ever. Like, it just doesn't happen. So when I was doing it, I had that same thought process. I was like, you know what? A lot of people are saying this is dumb. I understand it. I see the future of it. I'll probably be the OG of this. And that's what happened. And that's it. And when I got into crypto and I got into gaming and I got into NFTs and I understood it. And then I started telling other people about it. And people were telling me those same things like, nah, that's never going to be anything. You're dumb. I was like, I am in the right place.
I feel the same way. Oh yeah.
Yes.
I quit a cushy consulting job to work in Web3, and everybody was like, why did you do that? Like, you were making good money. Like, you're working with like Fortune 500 clients. Like, it's because this is the future. Like, yeah, I don't care that you're telling me this wrong. I understand it, and I have the conviction. I know that this is going to be the future.
Yeah. Plus, like, your interests change.
Mhm.
You know, like, I mean, fitness will always be a part of my life, but my two passions have always been fitness and gaming my whole life. I've just never had the opportunity to let the gaming side shine. And I'm finding the more I dive in, like, gee, like you saw, we're building, you know, costumes of our characters. I'm already planning what our event space is going to look like for, you know, like Comic Cons or Web3 gaming events, hopefully esports in the future. Like, I'm already planning all this stuff out that I want to do and how I want to interact with people and have fun, because that's what gaming is. Gaming is all about communities and bringing people together and shit talking each other. And like, that's, you know, it's kind of like my family. You know, I'm from Boston. So it's like, you know, that's what I thrive on.
So why do you guys decide to go with GameStop as your partner for that?
Well, so originally we partnered with Immutable X. And so Immutable X has the layer 2 solution where there's gasless minting of the NFTs. And Immutable X built the GameStop NFT Marketplace. So that's how we got introduced to GameStop. And obviously, like, I mean, GameStop is a nationally known brand, right? Everybody knows GameStop. Even outside of the United States, people know about GameStop. And so it's something that you want to be associated with. And if you take a look at what they've done over the course of the last few years, obviously you can watch that Netflix special, which is actually really good. You know, I like the stonk, right? GameStop recognized a few years back, you know, that everything is going online. And they started closing down stores. And it sucks that stores are closing, because like I was just at the mall the other day. So I got hit with a double whammy at the mall, at the Mall Millennia in Florida, because my wife loves going there because all her like fancy stores. So I'm like, every time we go, let's go to GameStop.
Yeah.
And I go in and it's like, this store is closing. And I was like, no. Like, now I only have one reason to go to this mall, and it's to buy my coffee at Nespresso. I swear to God, we went up the stairs to Nespresso. They're closing there too. And I was like, now I have no reason to come to this mall ever. You know? So, but there's a GameStop like, you know, 5 minutes down the road. And so what GameStop is doing is strategically closing down stores because they don't need so many, because they've invested, I think, like what, $75 million into websites, or into online, and into gaming, and into NFTs and nft.gamestop.com, because they know that that's the future. They're taking a risk, but in my opinion, it's a very strongly calculated risk, right? And so for them to have their marketplace, and again, right, like, it's so early in gaming that a lot of the games that are onboarding, you still have to have like those crypto elements. You have to have Ethereum, you have to have a MetaMask wallet or a Trust wallet, or, you know, even the GameStop NFT wallet, just to play the game and purchase the NFTs. Now, for our game, even though I mentioned earlier that you'll download it and as soon as you log in, you'll get a custodial wallet, you can still change it if you are crypto savvy to your GameStop wallet or to your MetaMask or to your Trust, right? But the biggest thing for us is, hey, we want that secondary marketplace. And so there's some other YouTubers that we've talked to and had on guests before on our Twitter Spaces. One of them is Marantz Rants. I don't know if you guys know him, but he's a huge GameStop guy. He makes videos about GameStop all the time. And one of the things that he said was, even though your game is new, just because it's associated with GameStop, I'll connect my wallet to it and trust it.
Yeah.
So there's also that, right? Being associated with a brand that's been known forever adds a lot of credibility to WAGMI to be there, because they vetted us, right? So that goes with it too. It's the clout. It's like, hey, we're on GameStop. How many other games are on GameStop? Not a lot. And then as soon as we do launch in app stores on iOS and Android in March, you know, they're going to market us to their 6 million power players. Yeah. I'm a power player. I've been a power player for years, right? So now, not only are we going to, you know, we have our comic book on there, but when we launch our game, they're going to market us to their power players. All these power players are going to have to do is click a link to download from the App Store. There's not going to have to be all these directions of, hey, first make a wallet and then do this and then do this and then do this. Later, they can get educated on the GameStop wallet because that's what GameStop wants, right? GameStop wants more of their power players to like crypto and to like NFTs and to download the GameStop wallet. So if they can be introduced to a game that's fun to play, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, how come I can buy these characters on this GameStop marketplace? Like, what is all this? This is cool. Oh, I actually own that, and the characters I'm leveling up, I can sell. Or, the other side of the equation is, what if all my characters are level 5? I don't have a lot of time to play, but a new character just came out, and I'd rather just buy a level 5 off of the marketplace. Oh, I go to GameStop to do that, buy it. It's in my game now. Now they're starting to understand. And for those of us who grew up, where like I have all of my video games. I mean, you can see Nintendo 64. There's an NES over here behind Captain America, Super Nintendo. I still have all my games because back in the day, I was like, why would I trade these in for $3? Like, I don't need the $3 that bad for a game I spent $50 for, right? But that's kind of how it was. Like when you trade in at any gaming location. Now they're going to start to see, oh, instead of getting a fraction of my money back, I'm actually going to make more money for the time I've spent grinding in games I like to play, because now there's this whole secondary marketplace that didn't ever really exist before. And so GameStop obviously brings a lot of credibility to that secondary marketplace.
And GameStop is incentivized to push all that because they're going to get royalties from everything that trades on their market.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. And for those of us that are early, they're going to push our game, I would assume, like crazy, because there's not a lot of games out there yet for people to play and to download. So it's a really synergistic relationship.
Sounds like they learned from Blockbuster's mistake, huh?
Yeah, dude, Blockbuster could have bought Netflix for $50 million back in the day.
Yeah. Apparently the CEO of Netflix was saying that they laughed at them.
Yeah, they laughed in their face. Yep.
They laughed in their face. Can you imagine that? Being the guy that laughed in their face?
It's funny, even in this space, right? Because not everybody understands the vision. I mean, you guys do, because you get Web3. So, like, obviously, there's people that I talk to that, think that nothing will happen. And it's because they don't, number one, they don't understand the technology. Number two, maybe they're not a gamer. 3, they're definitely not a creator. So they don't understand the struggles of that side of the equation as well. And I think it's important to talk about that, especially on interviews like this, because as a creator, and we talked about this a little bit before, you're a slave to the algorithm. If you're a creator on YouTube, you are a slave. On TikTok, you are a slave to that algorithm, because as soon as you stop making videos, if you get sick for a week or you want to go on vacation for a week or two, it's almost like you have anxiety attacks. Well, it's not almost like, you do. I've experienced it as a creator myself. Like, oh my God, I didn't make enough content to post. It's going to screw the algorithm up and it's going to affect my income. It's insane. The amount of content they expect from people, right? Now Web3 gaming enters the space. Oh, hey, you can still create all this content on YouTube, but you can also make money by owning and selling the NFTs. Or like, we're going to have an affiliate system. So creators can be like, hey, download and play this game, and then they'll make money off the affiliate link. And again, they're not saying download MetaMask, buy Ethereum. They're just saying go download from the App Store. We're going to eventually have skill-based battles where you pay an entrance fee of like $5 or $10. So now you're playing a game where even if you have 2 subscribers and maybe one's watching you do $5 battles for an hour, if you're good, maybe you make $50 from winning, right? So you're bringing all these other opportunities to have more fun, or even with like the community, right? Let's just take the money away for a second. If I'm streaming WAGMI Defense and I have, a bunch of characters that I don't need, or maybe I just leveled them up for fun, and they're duplicates. Hey, maybe I just give them all away on a stream for fun. So now I'm interacting with my community on a much deeper level. And for those that care, they can trace the blockchain. This came from Scott, and he's my favorite creator. I'm so excited to have his cards, right?
Exactly.
So now you're creating not only, monetary opportunities for creators to put less stress on their shoulders with residual income, but now you're also giving them all this ammo to create a deeper connection with their community.
My friends were really obsessed with Clash of Clans growing up. They were paying ridiculous amounts of money into the game. I mean, people in their clan, there was somebody that they knew was spending like $100,000 a year and dumping money into this game. And I'm like, what do you get out of it? And so I asked him, like, how do you sell it? Can you sell, like, you have to sell your entire account? What? That doesn't really make sense to me. So now having the opportunity to own individual assets that you can buy, sell, and trade, even renting, we're so very excited for the future of renting.
Oh yeah, renting.
Like that's especially in a play to earn style gaming. That's when it's like, oh my gosh, hit me really hard.
Yeah, imagine being able to rent out your deck. Like,
yeah, amazing.
Insane.
Yeah. Are you guys thinking about that for WAGMI Defense?
We want to do that for the in-game assets for sure too. But we already have that being built for our Genesis collection. So for those of you who have seen our Genesis NFT collection, those aren't the characters you play with. This was a collection we launched last March that had a lot of in-game utility. There's a 10% tax on our NFT Marketplace that gets collected and then distributed equally across all 3,022 of the Genesis NFTs. Which that's why our floor price is so high, because people know that we're so close to the game launching. It's hovering around like 0.9 to 1 ETH. But there a bunch just came on the other day for like 0.6. And I think because somebody connected their wallet and some NFTs got stolen, unfortunately, which is terrible. There's nothing we can do about it. You know, we tell people like, stop connecting your wallets to shady websites for like, I actually got an email yesterday or the day before for a collectible NFT from NYC NFT because I went last year.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want this. Like, what if it could be real? Probably is real. Do I want to risk it though? Like connecting my wallet? Nah, I don't need it. But people will be like, oh yeah, I'll take a free NFT. Click, gone. All their stuff's gone.
That's scary.
So it's scary. So I don't connect all to anything. Granted, I do have a ledger, but still, like I'm not going to connect. Anyways, I'm getting off topic here. So the 10% revenue share is huge. You know, it's huge for those NFTs. But you know, when the full so the mint price was 0.125 ETH, which at the time was like $390, right? And now we're averaging around like 0.9 to 1 ETH. We'll probably be back to a 0.9 1 ETH floor price in the next week or so. But you get once the full version of the game comes out, you're gonna get a loot crate that has all the in-game assets in it. So right there, you're pretty much getting your money's worth for all the in-game assets, right? I mean, our in-game assets aren't expensive. Our starter pack's like $12. You know, the individual characters are $6 to $8. Skins, like, you know, it's not an expensive game. It's not meant to be. You can't get mass adoption with expensive in-game characters. For those of you who have the Genesis NFT, you're going to get a gold armor version of the Human Emperor and the Alien Emperor, which is a pretty big flex when you're playing the game, right? Which is pretty badass. You'll have a little bit of a discount on the in-game marketplace too, if the NFT is in your wallet. Future whitelist opportunities. So, for example, when we launched our comic, every Genesis NFT was one whitelist spot for the comic, which got people really excited. And then we have our first tournament. It's going to be a $10,000 grand prize, and it's for Genesis NFT holders only. So now for the renting in the future, I mean, obviously, as we do well and we make more money, we'll have bigger tournaments. And the majority of our tournaments will be for everyone, obviously, but we will have the occasional Genesis NFT holder tournament only. So let's say the next one's $50,000, and I have 4 Genesis NFTs. Well, maybe I rent out all 4. Maybe I participate with 1 and I rent out 3 for $500 a piece. So they'll be renting there. But as far as like in-game and renting out decks, that'll be later. But I know the Genesis NFTs is going to be one of the first things that we're going to get the renting for because we promised it with the utility. But again, like even the Genesis NFTs, the thought process was, how do we bring utility to the game? And that major utility for us is like, I want to flex with my gold emperor, right? Like a year from now when I'm battling, I want to drop a gold emperor on the map and everyone be like, oh, who's got their gold emperor? Flex. Oh, yours isn't gold? Sorry to hear about that.
Games like Fortnite, like people really care about having for their characters and their gameplay.
Oh, 100%. Well, and that's what makes it so easy for us to collaborate with other games in the space. We can create skins for the characters, or even if we work with like a sponsor, you know, like maybe we don't have a skin for the character, but maybe we do like, you know, maybe we work with like let's say a candy bar sponsor, right? Mm-hmm. So maybe we add an emote that's a character holding the candy bar or something. Yeah. It's just so it's
taking
easy.
A bite or something.
Yeah, taking a bite or like there's so many fun ways you can integrate stuff like that into a game where it makes sense, you know. And then if we're working with another game, because I play Big Time a lot and I talk to those guys, and we're having conversations right now about how can we work together. I'm like, well, we can make some big time, assets for our game, like for banners, for your profile or an emote. And then maybe in the future, there is a skin that works for both. Right. And everyone is so willing to have these conversations because, again, the community is so small because we're so early, which I think is really cool. And I just found out, apparently I went to college with the CMO big time.
Oh, no way.
Like, yeah.
It's awesome.
Hey, I know you.
It was so awesome having you on today. It was so awesome.
Appreciate you guys having me on here.
Absolutely. But before we close out, any future game updates that we have to look forward to for WAGMI?
Yeah, of course. So soft launch in the app stores in March, which means from now until then, you guys, for those of you who want to download the beta, just go to our website, wagmigame.io. And there's a test flight link right at the top for iPhone or Android. We just added 10 new characters to the game last week. Really cool. It really changed the play style. I got absolutely throttled my first like 5 or 6 matches. It was terrible. And I was live streaming it at the time too, because we were doing our WAGMI Wednesday Twitter space. And I was just getting wrecked, like game after game after game. But I will say this, I played for an hour straight. I only had 1 match against the same person twice. I had new people every time.
Oh, cool.
Which
Nice.
was really, like it's a 3-minute match if it lasts the whole 3 minutes. Some only lasted 1 minute. So like 25 matches or so where I had a new person every time. It's really good. The next iteration of the game, it's gonna be so that you can start to battle humans versus humans and aliens versus aliens. Yeah, so that was really important. I really pushed the guys over at Cubics. I was like, listen, it'd be easier to find matches if we had that now. So they're working on that. Different functionalities are going to start to work in the game. You're going to see massive upgrades to how the look and feel of the actual cards as you're making your team. The info sections are going to start working. As Ian mentioned earlier, we're rebalancing a lot of the characters. We're adding special abilities to the characters as well, too. Like maybe you can only use them once, in game, just like a cool little move or something to give you a little bit of an edge. Right now, we're making it so there's only 1 map to play on, just because before we had the 2 maps, so that cut your chances of finding a match in half, basically, right?
Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
We have a lot of maps already built. So what we'll do is like every like week and a half or 2 weeks, we'll just rotate it. That's kind of like some alpha, like, hey, now try this map, which is pretty cool. So yeah, like literally from now until March is just getting all of the menu screens and everything to function and work in game. Changing the how you open the chest, the war chest. That animation is going to change, obviously, to be a little more in depth and cool. Right now, it's kind of just like a generic, like the chest pops up and the Nefi pops out. So you're going to see just basically a massive overhaul of the UI that's already there, which I think is going to be really cool for people to see that.
And I can just say from playing the game multiple times, I got to jump on the Battle Royale with Scott. It's actually a fun game. It's actually an enjoyable, fun game to play, unlike a lot of games in Web3. So please go to the website, give it a download, give it a try. It's free. Enjoy.
Thanks, guys.